Hey, welcome to another episode of the Fit Growth Machine podcast. I'm Brian Roisentul, your host, and today we have a great guest. His name is Carl Cleanthes, aka, and I love this one, Colorful Carl. He's Epic's Made, fearless leader, and the smiling face of the company. Epic Made is an animation and digital art agency that services the entertainment and advertising industries. Carl and his team have had the pleasure of working with many household brands, including SyFy, TNT, Nick Jr., Avatar, Spongebob, and many, many others. Before talking to him, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by BSR Digital. At BSR Digital, we help e-commerce brands that want to scale their business to the next level through Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. Yes, even after the iOS 14 update, now more than ever, we need to understand that it's really important to level up the marketing and design a solid strategy at what used to work doesn't anymore. And we are going to cover this with Carl as well. So if your e-commerce brand lacks a solid plan and professional team to increase sales, we can help the same way we have helped more than 1,000 brands like yours for over a decade. To learn more, you can visit us at bsrdigital.com, or you can also email us at hello@bsrdigital.com. Now, as promised, I have Carl here with me. Hey, man, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, of course, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. So why don't you start by telling the audience more about your story?
Sure. So I am a third generation entrepreneur, second generation artist. I started my company while in design school at Old Dominion University here in Norfolk, Virginia, in the States. And yeah, I started getting people. I knew in my blood that I was not only an artist but an entrepreneur, and I never really wanted to have a job. And I did try to have a job one time outside of college, and it didn't work great for me. But long story short, I in college I started hustling, and we would get assignments like do a website, and I went to my teacher. I was like, "Hey, my buddy just opened up a restaurant. Can I do this website project for him?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'd love that. Get some real world experience." So I'm having this guy pay me to do my homework, which was great. So that's how the hustle was born. And I built websites and print shops and T-shirts and did everything you could ever imagine that you could design in any kind of Adobe software. That may or may not have been a legitimate CD key back in the day, but I digress there. All my software is legit these days for sure. But yeah, that was kind of the genesis of how that started. And then from there, I did have like a tech job for a little while on a data security thing. I hated it, but while I was there, I was able to like do some freelance jobs and build up my little portfolio. And actually, I never branded myself as a freelancer. I knew right out the gate I wanted to have a company. So I was originally Creative Art and Design Studios, and I was trying to like be this marketing advertising company that, what would that look like? What does a successful company look like? So all my branding was very generic, very not me, didn't have the spirit of what it has today and myself in it, the colorful Carlness, if you will. But yeah, that's kind of the genesis. I kept working, finding our lane. I got brought in people to help me out on the admin side at first, and then on the art side. And now I'm at the point, there's 10 of us. I solely focus on business development and kind of executive creative director ideas, like big level ideas, our brand, and then just, business development stuff. And I have a whole art team and a creative director that are just absolutely amazing. And we just have fun every day, and we get paid to do it. So it's living the
I can
dream.
tell. I mean, lucky you. I mean, you said like third generation and second generation or something that's like, but you're all artists, right? And
Yeah.
it's great. And for everyone watching the video version, what a background. I mean, what a setup, man. I mean, you
Yeah.
have all the art even in the roof. Like, it's crazy. Look at my setup. It sucks, right? It's like all the book is like I have the guitars. I love my guitars, by the way, but it's not mine. I haven't designed those. So how does it feel to, to create such, I mean, wonderful things? Because yes, I mean, I feel that I help, companies, and I feel good about that, but it's nothing like, drawing something, or way more than drawing something, right? By creating something that everyone, not only you, feels great about it, right?
Yeah. There's something richly rewarding that comes from dumping your whole heart and soul and pure manifesting creativity into a story or a campaign or even a single piece of art. Like you can tell so much with one piece of art, so much of a story. It is richly rewarding. I mean, I have this whole wall over here that's like these are my latest art pieces with a little Halloween decoration on the top. But like I just keep printing them out and putting new ones out, and I make new art all the time as an artist personally. It's so rewarding. And I made my desk. We made our couch. Like we make everything. Like when I get into the weeds of the things that I DIY and my level of just, I want to make everything in my world. Like I want to do murals on all the walls. Like my house is crazy, but like I don't know. It works for me. I love it. So it feels great to answer your question. That was a long
Yeah, I
answer,
mean,
but yeah.
I have twins, like 3-year-old, and
Oh
whenever
wow.
they ask me to draw something, I feel like, man, please, God, let them be the only ones that see my drawing. I don't want anyone else to see this. Is like, and then somebody comes in, of course, always, and say, what's this? It was supposed to be Mickey Mouse, but shut up. It's like my version of Mickey. It's like my kids are, yeah, Dad, you're the best. Yeah, let's keep it that way, right? I'm not for this, but you know what I find funny about this whole thing is that many people, I think this is the old school, right? Luckily, but there's many people saying, no, probably trying to advise the kids or the younger generation to, there are some things you should study, you should do, and some others you should stay away with, or probably keep them as a hobby. And one of them, I think, is art, right? And this is
Yeah.
something you're you're here, man. It's not a hobby; it's what you do for a living, and so it's always a matter of finding the angle, right?
Yeah, it is finding the angle, and it is both a hobby uh and a living, right? Like I do art for fun as well. Like but the cool thing about that is the more art I do for fun, the better the ideas and the execution and the creation of my team is, right? Like I inspire them, they inspire me. It all kind of goes back and forth. And but I hate what you just said on the community side. Like I hate that there's that part about art and
Yeah,
like art's replaceable and art's not. I mean, my own grandmother, like, oh, you don't do art, Carl. Your uncle was an artist his whole life and never made any money. You get a good job, be a businessman, Which so she pushed me into business and tried to push me away from art, and I just pushed them together. So it was funny. But
yeah,
she was an old New Yorker, born in 1920. Like she'd seen artists suffer, and artists, the art side of your brain so often is not connected to the business side. So a lot of artists are not very business savvy, and art degrees in themselves almost never include anything about marketing, advertising, business acumen, copyright laws. Those are huge, and those things create starving artists because they don't have the knowledge of how to operate in the business ecosystem with their extremely valuable thing that they bring, which is culture defining. You take art out of anything, you lose the culture immediately. Everything is utilitarian without art. So that's my soapbox.
that's great, man. So yeah, so since we were talking, mainly to e-commerce brands, listening, and what's the connection between art, and e-commerce, and how do you think that it can help them? I mean, art is very broad, right? But
Mm.
how can art support, these businesses, and why?
Yeah. So, I mean, in the ecosystem of business, especially in e-commerce, right? Unless you have a WYSIWYG that no one else has, and you have a patent on that WYSIWYG, and you're protecting it with all your legal prowess and all of that, then what you have is a thing that probably other people have a similar-ish version of, right? You might be selling a pair of pants. Maybe your pair of pants is better for whatever reason, but everything around that pair of pants is a brand that you build, right? And if that brand has a huge focus on the creative and the brand and the customer experience and all the little details about how you visually speak about this brand, how you visually present this brand, that is all art. That the way you talk about something is an art form. The way you color and dress something up and express it in a video as an art form. So those things are the reasons why people get addicted to your brand, essentially, right? Apple doesn't make a better anything. Like, and I say that as a creative, but Apple has people that will kill you for their brand. Like, their brand is diehard, loyal fans. Like, they're not going to buy anything else other than Apple because they're an Apple person. So they've done branding in such a way that's addictive, right? Yeah, look at that. Like, and you probably paid an extra 40%, in my guess, for that mouse because you just had to have that Apple. You're an Apple guy, and that's okay. No disrespect. But like that is what everyone is trying to do with their brand. And when you look at the stock market, the brands with the most powerful brands are the most valuable companies. And that all boils into the art and the storytelling and the messaging and the brand that is built around that.
Okay, so that's very strong, and yes, I'm not a fan of Apple at any point. It's like no, it's like no. I just felt like buying Apple, no. But I'm just kidding. But yeah, Apple is worth it. Like the other day, there was a release. By the time of this recording, is worth it more than all the other companies combined, like Amazon, Facebook, and I don't know how many, right? Netflix. So it's pretty strong. So you're talking about building a brand, not just art, right? So of course, everything has to do with the art, but what does it mean to build a brand? I mean, besides the obvious, right? Why do you think the branding element is important, and what do you think brands are missing about building the brand for real?
I think, I mean, so the importance of the brand is just paramount. Like, you look at like any company's balance sheet and their assets, the number one thing on the biggest companies is the brand. Nike's logo and typefaces are the most valuable part of their entire organization, and they own buildings and factories and it. But like, that in itself, if they sold that piece, you can put a Nike logo on anything and it's instantly worth $50, $100 at least, even if it's like a pair of socks. You're like, they're $30 Nike socks, right? Like, anyways. But so I think the thing that
Even
some
the
people do is,
even sorry to cut you off, but I was laughing because the pandemic generated many fun stuff, and one of them was like the face masks, and every
yeah.
brand in Nike sold face masks, and it was like, okay, this is the limit, right? It's like people buying Nike face masks, and he's like, oh, okay, wait, and they
So
did.
yeah, they totally did, right? So, because you think about it, like, what you're putting on every day is a costume, right? Like, regardless if it's, and the level of normalcy outside of like what normal people wear and what other people deviates into this range of costume from, yeah, hey, that's a normal outfit, to like, oh my God, what is that person wearing, right? Like, but it all speaks to how you portray yourself. What is the brand of you as the human being, right? Like, I wear things that like lend myself to being an eccentric, weird, artsy fartsy guy that likes to go on outdoor adventures because that's what I like to do with my life, and the things I choose to wear facilitate that, right? Like, I like to wear pants that are, I can move in and go on an adventure just at a moment's notice. I wear toe shoes because I like them and they're good and they're funny and they're weird and they're conversation pieces, but they're also great to go for a run in and a hike in the woods and that kind of stuff. But so I think the thing that some people do wrong on brands, is that they phone parts of it in. They're like, oh, well, that's not that important. Like, every aspect of when a customer interacts with your company is a opportunity to build your brand, for your customers to have a brand experience. That customer journey, especially in a digital space, has become so important because you want everyone to enjoy interacting with your company. You want it to be valuable in some sense, even if that's just entertaining, right? If I'm sacrificing my time to be on your website to buy one of your things, I better enjoy the experience. It better not be a clunky, terrible website. I better not have to enter things 5 times. All the links better work. Like, all the little things, right? And then if the link doesn't work, what happens? Is there a brand experience then? Is there a funny 404 message with a little illustration that's like, I lost in the thing, but we're here for you? Like, so I've seen brands do really successful things, really clever things like that, but just out of nowhere, especially in an e-commerce environment that really builds a culture around their brand, right? You want to think of a brand from a business owner perspective of, okay, if my business was a person, what would that person look like? What would they talk? Who would they hang out with? Where would they hang out? Like, what kind of car would they drive? Like, all those things are great framing questions for how you should be speaking about your brand, how you should dress your brand visually, and then obviously how you should have commercials and the whole thing.
Yeah, and to add on top of what you said, which is very interesting, by the way, as we mentioned in some previous episodes, we there was a report released by the coach at e-commerce fuel, one of the top e-commerce communities for e-commerce brands, doing 7-figure plus, and the guy interviewed like, I don't know, 600 plus e-commerce brands, and they partner up with PostScript and many other tools to come up with a comprehensive report of the trends for e-commerce compared to previous years ago, right? And one of the top, they analyzed like the top performers versus the comparison group, right? And one of the main, like the number one thing I would say, or the report says, the number one thing that the top performing brands have versus the other ones is a branding factor. Not the ROAS, not the other ones probably have the same ROAS, or they have a little bit higher margins, but the branding factor is key for every brand to succeed. Sure, you can get away without it for a while, but it's not scalable. As you said, you're not Nike, right? You can be a 6-7-figure brand, but then what's next, right? So it's that important, backed up not only because of the experience, but also with the data, right? It's really, really important.
Yeah, you will hit a ceiling at some point, where the only way to expand is massive growth in your brand and the way you present your brand and the things that you do to create a unique brand experience for your customers that they're not having somewhere else. Because you're both selling the same WYSIWYG. It might be a little different flavor of that same WYSIWYG, but is the brand experience at your company's website, your company's interactions with your client, is it better? Is there more value? Do you have a way of giving back to them? If you do, they're coming back to you every time.
Yeah. And going, I mean, this is related to the brand factor and also to the art side of things, right? Everything. But you talked about the website. I would like to talk now about the other side, like before the click, about the ads. For example, many companies listening or watching or running ads or used to run ads and it didn't work. And sometimes, from experience working with clients in the agency, sometimes, companies say, oh, these ads were running, probably the ad campaigns is wrong or were wrong, or the audiences were off. Sure, those could be valid things, but what they don't see many times is that the message is just not there. What they wanted to say or what they needed to say is not triggering pain points, is not triggering the audience in any way. So they are not taking action. You have only a fragment of a second to actually get people's attention while they scroll through the feed or while they perform a Google search. You have like less than a second probably to get their attention. And again, you said something that is really important, that many brands don't have a lot of differentiation or differentiators in terms of the product or service or what they offer. But the same happens when it comes to the creative. Many clients say, oh, please copy that other company. Please copy what they are doing. Please copy. So you've been there, I think, right? So it ends up being all the same and all the boring stuff. And what do you think they should do, or what do you guys do with the companies you work with to change that? How do you come up with something that stops the scroll? And how do you think it can make the difference for a brand?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So, I mean, a major red flag we always have for any asset creation is, hey, just do what we want to be more like Fred's company. Fred sold a bajillion things last year. So Fred's got this great ad. We're going to take Fred's ad and put our logo on it and it'll be good. And it's like, no, Fred's ad's good and successful because Fred made an ad about Fred's company, and nobody can be Fred's company better than Fred's company. So you have to figure out what that definition is. What are the things? Because while your product may not be wholly differentiable, your company should be, and that has to do with the brand. So the thing that people miss the big mark on here in the creative side is you can't phone in the creative. You can't copy somebody else's creative. Your brand has to be authentic. And what that means is you eat, sleep, and breathe the values and things about your business that you went into business for. so oftentimes, especially in smaller, but we're not talking about 40-year-old, 50-year-old established businesses that, founders have long been dead, but these companies where the founders are still involved in the company, they created these businesses, even if it's subconsciously, with values and ethics and beliefs that they wanted to put into the. We just do that innately when we make businesses. So those things need to come forward in the brand values. And therefore, there is no one like you in particular, whoever you are that owns this business. So it needs to be reflective of that. That's the easiest route to go. And sometimes it's a collective, it's more than one person. Sometimes there's an idea built all around it. Some people are very forward thinking and understanding marketing and branding. But whatever that is, whatever that you've disseminated down into those core brand values needs to be fused into the messaging. And another big thing on the messaging is like, hey, you put your ad out to the right demographic, and you did all the things, and you had a closing thing, and you created scarcity, and there's an urgency, and there's a call to action, and you have this whole little formula. No one cares about that shit anymore. Like, those things are important, and done in the right way, they do create conversion. But if your ad sounds like, buy now, it's limited time sale, like, and you got like leaning into all these old school marketing sales tactics, people are annoyed. Like, as a human being, what you see right through as you're scrolling through ads and seeing things like the gimmicks don't work. They're done. We're over. Like, the gimmick game is done. So if you're still relying on sales gimmicks in your creative, like, those are instantly invalidating your offerings. People are seeing those. The audience is intelligent. They see a billion ads a day. They know which ones resonate with them immediately. So when I'm making ads with my team, the first thing we do is like, hey, we're not copying anybody else's stuff. Second thing is we deeply understand the brand that we're creating an ad for. So like, how are we talking different? Like, why is your brand cooler than somebody else's? And not only that, like, it's not even about cooler or not cooler. It's like, my wife explained it to me really good the other day. It's like, what flavor of ice cream are you? Like, some people love butter pecan, right? That's their favorite ice cream. And then somebody else absolutely will vomit if they eat butter pecan ice cream, right? So like, building yourself as a flavor, thinking about like, hey, you're this flavor of thing, and you want to attract every single person that likes that flavor. And the people that don't like that flavor, you don't want to talk to them because it's a waste of everyone's time, right? You're not going to show up to a mint chocolate chip ice cream tasting if you don't like mint chocolate chip, right? So all of your marketing branding should have that framing too, like, to be very fracturing, right? Like, I curse a lot when I do work, and I'm crazy and eccentric and high energy, and I want to make sure that the whole brand of my business feels very eccentric and artsy and a little cursy here and there, and like very, very non-traditional corporate setting. Because if you want that type of work environment, like, don't call us. Like, we're here to be out of the box thinkers. We're here to be really wild and eccentric and fun, and we're not like your old school, like, agency of record suit and tie comb over crew. Like, that's not us. We're never going to be that. So did that answer your question? I feel like I'm rambling a lot.
No, it's all very interesting, and yeah, you answered the question. And the one thing I would love to know is, for those listening, is like, does this work? I mean, yeah, let's say we understand the important, as I'm talking as on behalf of people listening. Let's say that we understand the value in creating video. Nowadays, people know that and value video more. They know that they need to be doing that. Some people think, oh, probably it's more expensive. Is it going to be worth it? Sometimes people produce one video and they expect it to do like wonders. Like, please generate all the revenue for me one video, because I don't know, maybe there could be animated or human videos. I don't know the difference, right? But I guess that there are some differences between the two, right? And I'm going to let you answer in a sec. But the point is that, is it worth it? Have you seen results with your clients? I don't know if you have any case you remember to tell the audience, like, why, like, whether it was a game changer or not for them to use video ads and compelling video ads.
Yeah, without a doubt. So on the product side, I've seen some statistics, and I don't know off the top of my head specifically what they are, but I want to say something sticking in my head. It's a 4x higher, like, purchasing rate for products with videos, right? Just even if it's just a video, like, of Susie in the office going, look, here's our thing, and it looks like this, and like, people can get it, context of it in time and space and size and all that sort of stuff. So that's huge. Just the simplest product videos make a big difference. Now, on actually like advertising campaign videos, I mean, yeah, one video, if done very right, can make a huge difference. Video, like you can't make a great video and it directs people towards a terrible website and then have terrible customer service. Like the whole process has to work. Like everything's got to be on point. You can't break down at any point in the sales cycle and expect that, oh, well, I can just fix it with a good video. But we've seen stuff in the past where I had a client come to me not too long ago with a child autism preschool, right? So they help kids that are autistic and get acclimated to go to regular school. Their brand, like they had built up this amazing business. Like the business side of this business was on point. They were setting industry standards for how this care and treatment and education goes. But their brand was very phoned in. They had like very clip art assets. Their header, everything looked like 1990s, like late 1990s at best, from their website to their brand to all the visuals. And so we sat down and we redid their logo. We redid their mascot, created them a bona fide, beautiful, illustrated character mascot, right? Took this whole thing and applied like a beautiful, lovely childhood storybook vibe to every part of their business. And the final piece, after we rebranded them and created some new headers and stuff for their website and their social media pages, we redid their advertising video. And they'd had a video in the past that was very like, this is what we do, and call for the seating's limited, right? So very dry, very informative, but not in any way touching human emotion, right? We wrote them a story about this kid that like needed the help and he couldn't get the help and he was struggling and all the little things, and really resonated with the parents, right? Because the kids aren't making this decision, the parents are. And we made this whole video that was absolutely amazing and still included all the things they had before about what they offer and how that goes, but made sure that we touched on the human heartstrings and the emotional experience of being a parent who has a child that's struggling and they don't know how to help them, right? So we made that video for them. They usually had a 6-week ad spend, right? So in the same amount of allocated resources to do this spend, they closed all the spots they had in 2 weeks instead of 6 weeks, had 4 times the web traffic that they ever get during the campaigns, and we put 500 grand profit in their bank account. So
Wow,
it was worth it.
what a story! And
So
how did you feel back then? Because actually the cost was good. Actually, it was not
yeah,
any other client. I mean, right?
what was that?
It was a good cause. I mean, besides a good client, right? I mean,
Yeah, great client, and we charge a fair wage. Ways that people like my company typically price things is there'll be like a, hey, you pay us outright at this level, whatever that is, 100 grand, and whatever, or we do a lesser rate and we take a profit share, and we didn't charge them 100 grand for that, by the way, but we take a profit share on the success. So there's basically performance-based pricing or just straight up, I pay it all up front kind of pricing. So there's a couple different options on that route to make it more affordable for people. So
yeah, before probably you just needed a few, I don't know, pieces of content a year, new collections or whatever, many years ago, right? And then over time with the social media platforms in our life, in our daily life, and not only for people but for companies, the need of content, of course, by now it's known, right? But right now is like the need for video content. So companies sometimes they don't know, even smaller companies, right? They don't know how to keep up with the demand of the generation of videos, and sometimes they say, oh, we need a location, we need a model, we need like the whole setup for this. Is there an alternative for that they can use? Is it only like the human touch that works, or they can create something else that could work with animation or something like that?
sure. Yeah, so I mean, storytelling is the human aspect, right? So we can touch on human emotion with words, with visuals. It doesn't have to be live action representations. Live, there's a time and place for live action and a time and place for animation, and there's a lot of overlap in between. I will say in our space, especially during COVID, which was interesting, was we saw a big boom in people wanting to produce animated video, motion graphics video that didn't have human beings in it, just because all the complications of travel with COVID and pandemics and flying and like, and then the normal complications of like sourcing talent and having them all in the same place at the same time with the products and making sure the products are there and make sure the we're doing it inside or outside. If it's outside, we got to watch for the weather and then the whole host of things that can go wrong in that. I mean, and productions, live action productions can get very, very pricey very quickly. So, sometimes it's actually much more cost effective to go animated, illustrated, those types of things. And you could do a hybrid as well, too. It's not terribly difficult to incorporate photographs as well into animations that kind of give you the best of both worlds without all the headache of, putting together a giant production shoot. So,
Okay. And for something I learned from you recently, and my mind was, okay, this is something I didn't know. You know, I thought that you always started as from a blank page or from scratch when it comes
yeah.
to designing. How do you think, or how do you see AI is helping you with that? Because many people listening might not know what we are talking about, right? So I'd love for you to quickly explain what I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, AI is a powerful new technology. It's not that new, right? So we've had machine learning and variations of that for years and years and years now. But what's going on right now is it's exploding into like all the sectors, and most importantly, it's exploding into the creative sectors in a way that's it's it hurts the bottom of the market a lot, I think, but it's really helping the top of the market. So here's what I mean by that. When my team gets picked up to do any kind of creative things now, like we can quickly digest some ideas from it from whoever we're working with and go, all right, so we need assets that are clean, classy with shoppers at a mall. And we're targeting this demographic, and we can actually punch that information into an AI art generator, and it'll just spit out by scrubbing the internet of like those keywords. It'll amalgamate 4 images for us to go, is this kind of what you were thinking? And we can take those and iterate from them. Now, there's not a lot of acute control yet, but I think eventually there may even be that. But it's really great for rapid prototyping of ideas, and also like understanding, breaking down communication barriers. Because even if I'm working with a client that's got the exact same background as me, we're from the same place, we've had the same experiences, like it's possible that some adjectives mean different things to them than they do to me. Like calm and peaceful might mean something totally different to me than somebody else. So kind of being able to get on that same page really quickly is monstrously powerful. The AI aspect of copywriting is pretty impressive these days, as well as there's a lot of video work that like I've seen stuff where it's like you can sit at your computer like this and go, well, hey, I'm Carl, and check out my business and blah 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 blah, and it'll map you out. You can pick out avatars. You can create an avatar much similar to a video game that'll map your face with their face. They'll be moving around. It looks photorealistic, like real video, but it's in a virtual setting. You can control the voice and the pacing and everything, and all you have to do is just record a quick thing. It's insane. So yeah, all of that is blowing up into such powerful, crazy directions that it's a whole industry in itself. So
Yeah, I remember when we first sat down together, and I don't know how the conversation started, but the point is that I saw exactly what you meant, because you said like, yeah, we generate, I don't know, we start, getting ideas through AI generated images, and it's like, what do you mean AI generated? I mean, I know AI, I don't know, Facebook algorithm and machine learning, but what do you mean for images? And you did some live tests with me, and it was like, what is this? It was like, like the other level for me. Of course, you're not from that industry, so we don't do that. And it's like, okay, it's something new, and I think it's really cool, because right now, I mean, yes, everything is done. It's still very manual. All the storytelling, all the work behind the scenes. But why shouldn't be able to get ideas backed up with data, as you said? Because this AI, just in case someone missed that, uh, it's not generating some random stuff just because, based on what you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's, generating things based on what those keywords mean on the internet. So that gives
Yes.
you not only a starting point that is not a blank page, but also gives you like a visual representation to what that means for many other people in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so the 100% is all data driven, right? So you and I might think like a super cool samurai warrior looks this type of way. So when we punch that into this AI, the AI is going to tell us based on all the data on the internet what humanity right now thinks of that visually, right? So like it in itself is backed up by data, which is really powerful for marketers and creatives that are trying to create something, because it's almost ensuring that your visual communication is not lost because these keywords are indeed rendering this type of thing.
Yeah. And to wrap up the conversation, which was really interesting, by the way, something that to me still not I mean, it's something that I think I understand, but I have never used them, which is NFTs, right? So for everyone listening, just in a nutshell, what what does it mean? I mean, an NFT for those that don't know, and then how do you think that those could be used or applied for the e-commerce space?
Oh man, so is it, we could break this out into like a 10-part series, but
I know.
and honestly, I am working on an NFT little masterclass thing, but yeah, so the premise of NFTs is this. All right, so we have cryptocurrency, and that is based on blockchain technology. Blockchain technology has crypto tokens, and crypto tokens are essentially like stocks of companies, but in this case, they're based off of a lot of times tech ideas are use cases of blockchain, right? So like, hey, we could use blockchain to track yada yada, and again, I can get in the weeds. This is going to be super high level, and anybody, if you want to reach out more to me about this, like I'm happy to talk more. Um, but so super high level, fungibility is the idea behind NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens. So fungibility is that like, hey, you have a dollar bill, I have a dollar bill. If we swap dollar bills, there was no exchange in value, right? Because they're fungible. That's what fungibility means. Now, in this case, if I'm an artist and I take my dollar bill now and I draw a crazy masterpiece on it, right? It is now no longer worth a dollar bill. I've created it into something else, right? So it might be worth $1,000,000 if I'm Picasso, and if I'm nobody, I just defrauded a piece of a piece of token currency. It's now worthless. So in the NFT space, that is exactly the same. The only difference in the NFT space is that you, instead of me doing art on a dollar bill, what you're doing is associating a piece of cryptocurrency permanently with a digital asset, right? So that digital asset can be any digital file. It's no different than like having a link to a picture on a website, right? Like this link could reference a PDF document, it could reference a picture, an audio file, a video, whatever that may be. Same thing with NFTs. The cool thing about NFTs is that like this oh god, so many cool things about NFTs. Sorry, how am I doing so far? Because I know I can get real heady on these, so I'm trying to make sure
No,
it's
just I don't know, in 5 minutes if you want. Yeah, it's like the high level of how, I mean, what they are in a sec, and then what how do you think, if you have seen e-commerce brand, I know some e-commerce brands are implementing them already, how they are doing that, if you have that information, and then how they can, I don't know, everyone listening, if they should
yeah.
get on the NFT, I mean, into the NFT world, if it's for
Yeah.
everyone or not. And
So NFTs, I think so. Now that I've kind of explained what an NFT is, I feel like that sort of makes sense. At least, if you have no idea what crypto and ever, but it's fine. Anyway, so you can create NFTs to build communities around brands, and I've never seen anything more powerful in my entire life than the communities I'm seeing coming together around NFTs. It's remarkable. So what happens is, like, let me give you a use case. Let's say you sell sneakers, right? And let's say you've got some diehard sneakerheads that buy your sneakers all the time. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to build a little NFT giveaway. We're going to airdrop it. So what that means is we're just going to give it away for free to our most loyal fans. So if you bought 5 pairs of our sneakers, you're going to get an early access token, NFT, to future drops releases of our new sneakers, right? So you're creating an exclusive VIP club, right? So you can say, all right, so we got 1,000 of these new sneakers that are coming out, and we're gonna hold 100 pre-release, and you have to have our NFT to buy it. So you go to the website and you authenticate your wallet. The wallet then goes, you log in with your wallet, it checks to see if you have the NFT. If you do, the page changes, and now you can purchase these pre-sale sneakers that no one else can get access to, right? So you're building like super fans, like crazy super fans. So that's just like one idea. There's whole different ways that people are co-creating stories. In my industry of entertainment and like story writing and comics and animation, it's getting crazy. People are creating entire NFT collections of characters that are in some cases randomly generated based on like algorithms. So like they'll create an avatar and it'll have 30 different heads, 30 different sunglasses, 30 different t-shirts. This is what Bored Apes Yacht Club did, right? This is one of the biggest NFT projects in the world. I mean, it's generated an ungodly amount of money. I could get into all the details of that, but I'll spare you. But a lot of co-creation thing. There are a lot of like you could sell specific NFTs to your loyalist clients, customers, and they could own the IP rights to those sneakers if they own the actual NFT, and then you can license through them and give them what essentially amounts to being royalty shares. So if a Michael Jordan had a deal with Nike, which he does obviously, but if it was an NFT based thing, he would own the NFT that says he owns the IP to these sneakers, and as all of the other sneakers are sold, he gets a percentage of the royalty if those are all tied into NFT and blockchain stuff. So again, it's a little crazy, but
Well, I think it opens doors to many new things. And as you said before, in a different conversation or different topic, it adds value.
yes.
In another way. Now you have another differentiator if you want, if you're targeting people that you feel that they will be into, these things. I think that it adds value, and many brands or many well-known brands are doing that.
Yep.
There's many crazy things going on in the world right now. It's hard to keep up with all of them. I know. Don't go crazy. I mean, everyone listening, it's like this probably will open the door to exploring more on NFTs and how well-known brands are using them, and see if it's for you. But anyway, I think you have explained it well. Only it's a lot to digest, for many people. That is like, okay, why is like a crypto? Okay, I got there, but okay. But yeah, it's great. So Carl, I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks a lot for taking the time to do this. I hope you had a great time as well. It's super fun always talking to you, super interesting, and I learn a lot, and I love all the art that you do. And I wish I had my background here, the same as you, with all my art there, but I don't have any. I don't know how to.
Well, I've got tons of it if you'd like some.
Yeah. So please tell people where they can go to learn more about you and Epic Made.
Yeah, absolutely. So epic-made.com is our company website. But you can just go to colorfulcarl.com. And from there, there's links to Epic Made. There's links to our original comic we wrote, Supernal. Links to my personal studio where I make NFTs and AI art and posthumous collaborations with my father. That's Cleanthes Studios, and all the stuff I'm into. So, definitely just colorfulcarl.com. That's kind of that's the link tree hub that'll get you to all the cool stuff I'm into. So.
You also do live art periodically,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Every Wednesday night I do live art on Twitch. And basically that's 2-part. I'll either just do some like experimental, like creative at play stuff where I'll use some AI art or some stock images, or I'll just draw. I always incorporate pieces of my dad's art, just posthumously to kind of celebrate his legacy. He passed away in 2016. At the end of every show, I mint an NFT of the art. I put a link to that into the link to the actual show in YouTube where I archive them into the metadata of the NFT. So if you buy these NFTs, you get a one-of-one print. It has a link to me creating the art and the whole experience. You get to be in it. It's really cool.
Wow.
And then on the off weeks, I interview creatives and do the same thing, except for when I'm interviewing the creatives, I take prompts from our conversation, punch them into Midjourney, make AI art on the fly, and then do all that stuff too. So
That's
super
awesome.
fun.
Hey, for everyone listening, remember that the resources mentioned are in the show notes. So if you are on Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting platform, please make sure that you go to freegrowthmachine.com, find the episode, and there you will find all the show notes plus the links that Carl mentioned. Carl, it was a pleasure to have you. It was a pleasure to talk to you as always. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure, buddy. I really appreciate it, dude.